Hi, my name is Jim, and until last year, I felt hopeless. I was in pain and devastated. I could not fathom that the love of my life could be taken away from me in the blink of an eye, and everything we had built together, our beautiful family, our peace, would crumble to pieces. Marie is the kindest and strongest person I know, always energetic, and her smile alone can light up an entire room. This is what made me fall madly in love with her, and we've been happily married for 30 years now. We were blessed with 3 children and 5 grandchildren whom we adore. This was the beginning of a long nightmare that would fill our happy home with fear and anguish. On that fateful day, Marie and our beautiful 3-year-old granddaughter Alice were playing in the yard. I was inside preparing a snack when suddenly I glanced through the window and my life flashed before my eyes. There she was, lying on the ground, not moving, at the feet of our granddaughter, who was now scared and screaming. Help arrived quickly, by the grace of God, and they were able to help Marie regain consciousness. They rushed her to the hospital where we would receive more answers. I held her hand as the doctor shared the shocking diagnosis: heart attack caused by hypertension. We couldn't believe it. How could this happen? She'd always been an active person, never complaining about anything. There was nothing that could have prepared us for this. We thought, wrongly, that hypertension was strictly linked to sedentarism or old age. We were told that factors such as genetics, weight issues, salt intake, smoking, and drinking play a huge role that can cause hypertension. But that still did not explain why Marie had it, because she fitted none of the previously mentioned categories. And it surely did not explain why even younger patients who exercise regularly and eat healthy drop dead daily because of heart attacks or strokes. But here we were, facing the harsh reality, and I was determined to fight for my wife. And so we embarked on a new journey together, one that would later prove to be an extremely time-consuming, costly, and tedious experience just to find ourselves nearly where we left off. We've spent days on hospital hallways looking for answers, for specialists. Countless doctor's appointments, different medications with severe side effects, lifestyle changes. I've seen her do everything trying to control her blood pressure, and I've seen everything fail. And each time we'd start again. Maybe this treatment will work. Maybe this doctor knows more. Maybe this diet is better, and we would find ourselves in the same spot. I spent endless nights searching online for a miraculous solution that would give me back my wife. And it was all pointless. Her blood pressure was still too high, and on top of that, she had all those side effects to deal with. She could not sleep well, eat well, lacked the energy to get out of bed, and simply live. The medications were draining her, causing frequent heartaches, stomach aches, kidney issues, nausea, and the list can go on forever. Later on, we learned that many of the drugs prescribed to hypertensive patients pose some risks of severe side effects, such as blindness and even death. Moreover, we were stunned to learn that in more than 50% of cases, these drugs don't even work. Or even worse, they could increase the risk of suffering a cardiac event. Nobody wants to imagine they'll ever be in a place where they'd have to live in sheer fear and despair. For a long time, this was our life. To watch my gorgeous, loving wife lose her spark and witness her beautiful smile fade away each day shook me to my core. We felt stuck. She had become a mere shadow of the woman we once knew. But little did we know that, like Marie, there were millions more daughters, sons, parents, grandparents, many of them not diagnosed yet, just like my wife was before the unthinkable happened. Luckily, I found a beacon of light in the most unexpected place in our darkest time, and I'm committed to make a difference in the world by sharing our journey and everything we've learned about this powerful method of bringing blood pressure down to normal levels. So keep watching to learn how you can protect yourself and your family from this unseen until too late, but all too real enemy. At this very moment, the human race is dealing with a global epidemic hidden in plain sight. So often overlooked, but incredibly dangerous, deadly if left untreated, that forever changes the lives of those affected and their loved ones. According to the World Health Organization, Over 1 billion adults are diagnosed with this disease worldwide, with 116 million people in the United States alone. And these numbers continue to grow every year, affecting all age groups from 30 to 79 years old. That disease is hypertension, the silent killer, which contributes nearly 500,000 deaths per year in the USA and 10 million globally. But there is hope. You don't need to keep living in fear for you and your family. You can go on enjoying life without worrying about blood pressure and its associated risks, heart damage, arteriosclerosis, stroke, kidney failure. What if I told you that a treatment that has been around for ages but got lost in the pages of history, intentional or not, has the potential of restoring your well-being, of allowing you to live a carefree life while getting better each day? Regardless if you're diagnosed with stage 1 high blood pressure, a reading of 130/80, stage 2, reading 140/90, or severe hypertension with numbers of 190/110. This secret that has been so conveniently well kept from the public for decades can help bring those values down to normal with a simple method. And what makes it even better? It's 100% natural with great benefits for your health. In just a second, you'll learn about a historical discovery, something so simple yet so revolutionary that will change the pharmaceutical industry forever. Something that has the potential to turn the medical field upside down. Please pay attention, as you're amongst the first to learn about this simple yet effective and affordable ritual. I assume this video will not be allowed for long, as what I'm about to share with you does not sit well with the moguls of the drug industry. But I'm determined to share my findings with the world regardless. What is it? How can it help normalize blood pressure using only ingredients provided by Mother Nature without side effects? Why is it not in every drugstore and on national TV already? You'll receive answers to all your questions in the next part of the video, so keep watching and spread the word. You might save a life. A year after Marie had her heart attack, we received another blow. My father had died suddenly in his sleep. He was 90 years old, had lived a wonderful, adventurous life, loved history, and dedicated his life learning everything there is to know and teaching others as a history teacher. He loved reading and had an impressive collection of books that were his treasure. He instilled the same passion in me and guided me towards a profession which I love, teaching mathematics. At a certain point in my life, I even considered a career in chemistry, but later on decided my true calling was mathematics and ended up teaching it at universities. The reason I'm sharing this with you is so you can better understand my frustration in failing to help Marie. I dedicated my whole life to teaching and helping people. I wanted to make a difference in the world. But when it came to rescue my wife from such enormous pain, I felt like an utter failure. After my dad passed away, may his soul rest in peace, devastated as I was, I went to his house, my childhood house, trying to deal with my grief. I went to his office and looked at all the books he treasured so much, a collection of hundreds of books, manuscripts, notes, science journals, things my father had collected in a lifetime and represented everything he stood for. Many of these writings were very rare. Some were unique. I remembered growing up, he would always talk about how, in the past, people were treated with plant-based remedies, that many of the modern world's medicines are doing more harm than good, and how we should go back to our roots and learn from our ancestors. He strongly believed that Mother Nature has all the answers, and that we should balance that with modern techniques and science. He believed in approaching medicine with a different mindset, and this became a recurring topic during our Sunday dinners, where he would so passionately talk about his latest readings, recent discoveries that he always loved to share with my mother and I. As much as I loved having these talks with him, I was always a little skeptical. I thought, mistakenly, that plant-based remedies are nothing but a hoax, a method of making people spend money on pills that never work, and that modern medicine is the sole answer to modern diseases. And I remained a skeptic up until the moment I walked in my father's office. What I found there made me do a 180, and I started to look at the drug industry through different, clearer lenses. And what I'm about to share now is the story of how I found the incredible method that can help you regulate your blood pressure once and for all, while still enjoying life, giving you back your confidence and stamina, making you feel powerful, young, and independent once more. This is the story of thousands of people who already tried our remedy and immediately started feeling better. They noticed their blood pressure decrease from the very first days of starting this simple, 100% natural, with ingredients studied and approved by the greatest minds of our century, ritual. The ritual to which I owe Marie's life. This morning ritual dropped her numbers by 10 points in the first 10 days alone, and continued to do so until her blood pressure levels became regular once again, with a systolic of 113 and a diastolic of 70. All these memories kept coming back to me as I was going through my father's book collection, admiring the man and inspiration he had been and how I was so grateful to have had him in my life, wishing and praying at the same time that our children would also get to enjoy their mother's presence for as long as possible. As all these thoughts were flooding my mind, I sat in his chair and noticed my dad's manuscript on his desk. Of course, I opened it, missing the evenings we spent together in this very same office, me reading and him always writing notes about something interesting he discovered in one of his many books. So I opened it and glanced through its pages. As expected, it was full of historic facts, figures, cultural diversity, worldwide customs, scientific discoveries, studies, and of course, natural treatments and medical studies. This last topic caught my eye, and as I started to read, I came across a list of names of plants and seeds which were used to treat people for different diseases. Remedies which have been passed from one generation to another for centuries, all natural ways of treating various illnesses, from the common cold and headaches to more complex ones such as, you guessed it, blood pressure. And there it was, a formula created in Europe in the 17th century to obtain a natural remedy against high blood pressure, in my father's handwriting, together with detailed information about each ingredient, dosage, together with additional health benefits it provides. I couldn't believe it. At first, I didn't know what to do with this piece of information, because you see, the skeptic in me kept telling me not to get my hopes up. But deep down, I knew I found the answer to all our prayers. I wanted to take some time to carefully study my father's manuscript before jumping to conclusions, so I decided to take it home and read it thoroughly that night, and I was not disappointed. There were many references to heart disease, blood pressure, fatigue, headaches, kidney issues, and so on and so forth. For each symptom that my wife was dealing with because of her condition, there was an ingredient meant to treat it. So I thought to myself, maybe, just maybe, with the right skills and knowledge, we can have an end to this nightmare that hypertension is. This thought was so overwhelming and surreal at first that it almost made me quit before I started. How could I succeed doing what big drug chains had been presumably trying to do for decades? Was I even capable of it? Or was I allowed to do it? But I pushed past these intrusive thoughts and decided that I'll go for it no matter what. So I began my own research on natural treatments for various types of diseases and how they changed and saved lives in thousands of cases. I learned there are certain populations in the world where hypertension does not even exist, unlike the USA, where the statistics are pretty grim. 1 in 25 young people, ages 12 to 19, have hypertension, and 1 in 10 has elevated blood pressure, previously called prehypertension, whereas among young adults, 11.2% have hypertension, and 33.3% have prehypertension, and these numbers only grow bigger with age. With all the treatments available today and all the studies which are made everywhere, the statistics speak for themselves. Hypertension is on an ascending route. And even though lifestyle and genetics are valid reasons for it, there is an even more dangerous factor which is almost impossible to control: stress. When we are under pressure, our body releases a hormone which is called stress hormone. And even though it's very useful when we are dealing with a threatening situation because it triggers the flight or fight system, too much of it, and too often, can and will affect your health in many ways. You may have heard more than once how stress is so harmful, but still have no idea how to reduce it. Because we live in a society where everyday life is stressful, from morning traffic to money issues, responsibilities that come with raising a family, and so on and so forth. This causes our stress levels to skyrocket among our population, and as a direct effect, when our bodies deal with so much pressure on a daily basis, it releases a surge of hormones that cause the heart to beat faster and the blood vessels to narrow. These actions increase blood pressure, and in time, plaque accumulates in the arteries, making us prone to forming clots that can block them. And if that's not bad enough, hypertension is one of the main causes of kidney failure in the United States. It's known that blood pressure can cause the arteries around the kidneys to become narrow, weak, or hard. This affects the blood supply to the kidneys, which means they receive less oxygen and nutrients. Damaged kidney arteries can keep the kidney's filtering units, or nephrons, from functioning properly. Then, damaged kidneys can raise a person's blood pressure due to fluid buildup or by producing hormones that further increase blood pressure. It's like a never-ending cycle, which will eventually end in death. I know it sounds terrifying, but sadly, it's the truth of how life-threatening this diagnosis is. Today, luckily for our family and all families worldwide, we possess the knowledge to avoid this from happening while still enjoying good food and life altogether. Knowing you don't have to worry about hypertension stealing every inch of your sanity and peace is a pretty reassuring thought. So I'll let you know once and for all how we managed to turn despair into hope for thousands of families. Therefore, I returned to my father's notes and took each ingredient from the formula my father had and began my own research. If I wanted to pursue this and create a solution, I needed to check for myself that it was indeed worth it, and I was not just wasting my time pursuing the unachievable. The results of my research speak for themselves. Every single ingredient is backed up by scientific studies and is proven to help with hypertension. So how come we're still seeing these gruesome statistics on hypertension if we already know what helps? I assure you the answer is exactly what you already suspect it is. Hawthorn leaf helps protect against heart disease and control high blood pressure and high cholesterol. There are both animal and human studies which prove it increases coronary artery blood flow, improves circulation, and lowers blood pressure. It strengthens the heart and supports healthy cardiovascular function. Hibiscus flower has been shown to decrease blood pressure, reduce body fat, improve metabolic syndrome, protect the liver, and fight cancer cells. Buchu leaf has a long history of use in traditional herbal medicine for kidney-related issues and reducing high blood pressure. Uva ursi leaf helps reduce inflammation and fight infection in kidneys and urinary tract. Green tea leaf. Many studies show that it helps keep your skin and liver healthy, reduce blood fat levels, regulate blood pressure, and improve brain health. Juniper berries, full of antioxidants. They lower blood pressure, increase blood flow. Garlic bulb has been used throughout history in Asia to treat hypertension. Olive leaf helps prevent LDL, or the bad cholesterol, from building up in your arteries. This effect helps increase blood flow and lower blood pressure, reducing your risk of heart disease. I found out that people have been using these ingredients for centuries and never had to worry about hypertension because they became naturally immune to it. Pretty amazing how nature can provide us with all the answers as long as we keep an open mind, right? What I had to do next was find a person with the right set of skills to help me in my mission. I knew there were not many people who I could share my secret with because, you see, I don't have to be a doctor to realize that the medicine industry revolves around money and power. I'm not a doctor, nor a chemist, nor a powerful pharma mogul, so I could only do so much. So I contacted an old friend for help, Dr. George Laurier. I told him about my plan, and fortunately, he was immediately on board. For a few seconds before talking to him, I feared he might say I'm crazy, but he was very supportive. George told me he'd went to more scientific conferences than he can count. He's seen these lavish parties organized by drug companies where they would give doctors privileges, benefits, and even expensive gifts in the hope of persuading them to recommend their drugs to patients, whether they're efficient or not. therefore confirming my fears that it's all a big business meant to make money and fill the pockets of those already rich rather than provide real solutions to people who are suffering, families like mine and yours. He said it's something that never sat well with him either, which was the reason he eventually gave up on attending such events altogether. He had learned about natural ways of treating certain conditions and was aware of the health benefits that herbal remedies have, which is why he didn't even hesitate to join me. I know there's a chance that after this video becomes viral, they'll try to stop us. They don't like cures, short-term solutions. They like lifelong treatments that make you dependent on their medicines. So I contacted George and told him everything I knew up to that point. He was immediately on board, since time was not on our side. My wife could have another heart attack any time, and that thought alone was paralyzing. After this point, I felt a sense of relief, because I was not alone in my quest anymore. We partnered with our manufacturer, Antique Formula, and together we managed to enhance my father's formula, and we obtained a powerful mixture of natural ingredients. And what happened next will blow your mind. Now that we had this part figured out, there was one thing left to do: make sure it works. After the first batch of capsules was ready, I was the first to try them. Even though I was not a diagnosed hypertensive patient, I also had episodes where I had slightly elevated blood pressure. So it made sense to be the first to test the results of our work, closely monitored by my friend, Dr. George Laurier. Since they are 100% from natural components, I did it wholeheartedly and without a care in the world, because I was certain that the proven quality and benefits of the ingredients can only improve my health. I took the first capsule in the morning after measuring my blood pressure with a glass of water and waited. I imagined it would take some time until the effects kicked in, but I was amazed that after an hour or so, I had this warm feeling rush through my body, like a warm embrace from the inside. Moreover, I felt this energy boost. I felt strong, like this weird fog had been cleared, and now I was seeing life through different lenses. I repeated the ritual in the evening and had the same feeling. Before going to bed, I measured my blood pressure again and discovered with a huge smile on my face that it had dropped from 126/74 in the morning to 123/72 in the evening. I repeated the ritual in the following days, and my blood pressure had stabilized to 115/70. We were thrilled. Our formula was working even better than we could have imagined. That's when we felt confident enough to have Marie test it. She started her morning with a systolic of 148 and a diastolic of 94. She was feeling tired, drained physically and mentally, dizzy and nauseous from all the prescription drugs she was on. Her hands and feet were cold, and she had these big, dark circles under her eyes. She was not eating well, sleeping well. Her skin was pale, and she could barely find the strength to get out of bed. This is how bad her state was in that particular morning, and many others before. Her heart was a ticking time bomb. It broke me to see her like this, and I couldn't wait for her to try this natural alternative. And it was the best decision of our lives. Just like me, after an hour, she started to have this warm sensation in her body, like her blood flow has improved, and a huge weight has been lifted. She told me about a tingly feeling, a better focus, and boost of energy. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, her face lit up and her eyes brightened. She said she has not felt this strong in months. This brought tears to my eyes, because at that exact moment I could envision a future where we grow old together, where our grandchildren get to play with their beloved grandma again. In the days that followed, I watched her blood pressure like a hawk, fearing it would rise again. But no. After a week, her systolic dropped 10 points to 138, and her diastolic dropped to 88. After 2 weeks, she had a double 5-point drop to 133 and 83, and after a month, it was hovering at 118 to 120/68. Her cheeks regained color. She started sleeping better, eating better, and feeling better in every way. Her newfound happiness was priceless, and it was then that I realized my dad's old ways were right all along. She continued to take the capsules, and at her monthly checkup with her cardiologist, he was left speechless. He thought for a second that the treatment he had prescribed suddenly performed a miracle, and when Marie told him about the 7-ingredient formula she takes every morning and evening, he refused to believe it or acknowledge it. He even went to say she should stop taking it, despite the results and it being safe. This was not surprising to me at all, but Marie was really frustrated. It was her idea then to make this formula available to other people who need it, people like ourselves who are still trapped and homeless. She said it would be selfish of us to keep it a secret when there are millions of men and women suffering needlessly, families that hurt, or even worse, lose their loved ones to such a deceitful disease. We then started sharing this formula with our friends and family, and since then, it has become my mission to share it with anyone I meet who might benefit from it. I now recognize the powerful potential of plant-based remedies and understand that sometimes the best cure lies within the things that come from nature. I've been converted from skeptic to believer and owe my enlightenment to my dad and to the power of this 7-ingredient formula. From that moment on, we had a new goal, one bigger than us. So we sat down with my friend George and our manufacturer and brainstormed on how to make it happen, to share our blessing with the world. And we did it thinking of the thousands of mothers and fathers in America who had to say their final goodbyes to their loved ones, aching for the families destroyed forever as they watched their parents fade away each day, not being able to help. And that is how Sanguinem Pressura came to fruition. We started by testing our formula on 1,000 patients, men and women, age groups 40 to 80, with different stages of hypertension from mild to severe, some of which were already on prescribed medication, while others have just been diagnosed or under medical supervision. We told everyone to continue to take their medicine, while they enjoy this morning and evening ritual to relax and watch as their blood pressure drops a few points each day until it settles to a healthy range permanently. That's all they had to do, and the results did not disappoint. After the first 2 weeks, we were certain we had something unique that has not been achieved before, because the men and women who participated in our study all reported significant decreases in their blood pressure on a daily basis, while they went on with their lives and allowed our formula to do all the work. Their blood pressure continued to decrease until it settled to a healthy, normal range for good. We went even further and had some of the subjects get off the formula for a period of 14 days. They continued to monitor their systolic and diastolic ratings each morning in order to check whether their blood pressure would shoot back up. But it never did. Their ratings remained stable, with small fluctuations of 2 to 3 points, but it never went beyond the normal range again. The average drop in systolic reading was close to 23 points, and the average drop in diastolic reading was approximately 15 points. But as great as all this was, it was not everything that we achieved. After their blood pressure stabilized, many reported improved quality of life, improved circulation, not getting tired as easily, better sleep, more confidence and more stamina. The results of our program were incredible and truly life-changing for those who had taken part in it. Their drop in systolic and diastolic readings gave them newfound strength and energy to do the things they had always wanted to do, but couldn't for the longest time. People were now able to exercise, work, socialize, and live life to the fullest again. They had been set free from the confines of high blood pressure and found themselves surrounded by newfound possibilities. Here are just a few of them now. I've had high blood pressure for 5 years when I found out about this formula. I tried to keep it under control, knowing full well what could happen if I did not, so I tried to be as active as possible. Even managed to lose a little weight and watched my salt intake along with taking my medications. But my blood pressure was still far from normal, comfortable ranges, hovering at the 130/79 mark. So when I learned about this supplement from a friend who had already tried it and praised it, I figured I might as well give it a try since it contains only natural ingredients. Long story short, my blood pressure now is 120/70 and I couldn't be happier. Stephanie C. 10 years have passed since I received the diagnosis that changed my life. I have to admit, at the time, I felt scared and confused. I was so young and felt helpless against my deteriorating health. However, with time, I adjusted to the daily medication and other medical precautions. I stayed vigilant, eating healthy and watching my salt intake, trying to remain as active as possible. While I kept the levels under control, I couldn't seem to drop it further than 130/80. Eventually, I accepted the fact that this was my reality and would be with me for the rest of my life. I thought I was just not going to live long enough for my grandbabies to remember me. But one day I learned about this newly discovered formula, decided to give it a try, and never looked back ever since. I feel better than ever. My doctor doesn't understand how it was possible to drop my ratings to 117/70 in such a short amount of time. I feel like a whole new person, and for the first time, I believe I'll be around for many years to love my grandbabies and watch them grow. I am forever grateful. Ethan L. Hello, I'm Andrew. My doctor has been on my case for years about my high blood pressure, warning me of the risks I face if I do not manage to get it under control. I was aware of the damage high blood pressure inflicts on the body if left unattended, but even after I quit smoking, drinking, started to exercise regularly, and lost the extra weight, my blood pressure was still not coming back to earth. So I was put on medication, which I knew was going to be for the rest of my life. One day I stumbled upon this video, and even though I was a little skeptical, after a few weeks of using Sanguinem Pressura, I was finally able to regulate my hypertension without the use of expensive medications. I regained my confidence and could get back to doing the things I used to love. Andrew T. Open your arms to welcome a new chapter in your life, because Sanguinem Pressura, with its unique combination of ingredients, all scientifically certified, created in a specialized environment with all safety regulations followed, is here to make your life easier, with 0 side effects and 100% health benefits. Just imagine you wake up one morning, measure your blood pressure, and realize that for the first time in forever, it's back to normal. Only by following a simple 30-second ritual. And not only that, you wake up feeling vibrant, bursting with energy from the improved circulation, almost like being restored to a younger version of yourself. You notice your pains go away, while your heart gets better each day, never having to watch what you eat and being able to perform your favorite activities. Imagine a life where you no longer feel like a burden for your family or feel guilty for the pain your condition caused. Imagine you become free and independent once more and will never have to worry about high blood pressure again. What would you be willing to do to put an end to your suffering? To be able to reconnect with your body once again and not feel trapped inside it. To feel it heal from the inside out as you radiate health and happiness. What price would you put on that if you were to buy it? These are questions that keep me up at night because I don't ever want to make this about money. We call it our heart project because it comes from our hearts. With love and care for all the people who now suffer because of high blood pressure, and we cannot put a price tag on that. We've had people along the way suggesting we approach this project from a business point of view, and we simply refused. Because I would never want money to be the reason someone doesn't receive the care they deserve, and as a thank you to my father, may his soul rest in peace, today I will bring the prices down to cover only a fraction of the cost of production for the supplies we have available. So for $69 US, you get a 30-day supply of Sanguinem Pressura with no strings attached. You buy it today, try it, see the results for yourself, and you return for another batch if you desire. We use a safe payment system, which will only charge you once without any weird conditions or subscription fees. However, based on our research and information we gathered, we recommend you use this formula for a period of at least 90 to 180 days to make sure there's enough time for the formula to be fully absorbed into the system and work its magic by keeping your blood pressure at a healthy level. For this reason, and because I'd much rather see people get the results they deserve than anything else, I'll cut the prices even more just for today. Our supply might be gone soon, so hurry up to catch this one-time deal and choose your preferred bundle by accessing the link below. You save money and get better at the same time. You'll not find our product anywhere else. We prefer addressing directly to our customers and keep the retail prices at reasonable rates so everyone can afford them, rather than involve third parties who would only be in it for the profit. So take advantage of our unique offer today and have your Sanguinem Pressura delivered to your doorstep. Quick and safe. You've waited long enough for something like this, and now it's here. There's no reason to waste more time. Choose your favorite bundle and change your life for the better today. You'll see for yourself what our customers have already been experiencing with Sanguinem Pressura. I came across this life-saving ritual by accident when I was searching for something natural to ease my high blood pressure-related symptoms. I was experiencing extreme fatigue, dizziness, blurred vision, constant headaches. I never imagined I'd find something so much better, like Sanguinem Pressura. Shortly after starting this ritual, I started to notice the amazing results and have been on it ever since. My doctor still, to this day, refuses to believe that I managed to keep my blood pressure steady by using a natural method. My doctor kept warning me that if I didn't do something to get my blood pressure under control, he'd put me on medication. So I began to exercise regularly, ate healthier, and with little to no salt. This helped a little, but not enough. So when I heard about this, I didn't hesitate to try it, and now I'm hypertension-free. I used to hate taking my readings in the morning because I was tired of seeing the same increased values despite being on prescribed treatment, and my efforts to cut sodium out of my diet, to be more active, to drink more clean water, I felt stuck and frustrated. But after I began this ritual, everything changed for me, and now it's a pleasure to check my reading because I know that regardless of what I eat, I know my values will never skyrocket again. My health and peace of mind are worth everything. What's more to say? Today marks the beginning of a new life for you. Join us, and you'll never look back. Today you have to make a decision for your future. Will you grab this opportunity or let it slide? If you're still skeptical, you can walk away now and continue to fight high blood pressure just like you did up to this point. Stuck in a vicious circle of doctor's appointments, spending endless hours in hospital hallways, depending on drugs just to barely function day by day, while also experiencing those side effects on top of everything else, and still not being safe from a major cardiac event or kidney failure, blindness, dementia. You can continue to follow the big pharma's agenda and remain a pawn in this game they play, without ever truly protecting yourself from the damage high blood pressure inflicts on your body. But are you ready to reach a point where your kidneys don't function anymore? Where you need dialysis every day to postpone your death? I know it sounds harsh, but sadly, this is the truth. The heart-wrenching truth of patients with hypertension. Or even worse, just imagine that every day you lose a little more of yourself as you forget every fond memory that made you the person you are today. Hypertension is proven to have major effects on the regulation of the cerebral circulation and contributes to cerebral small and large vessel disease, resulting in brain damage and dementia. Can you even stomach the idea of forgetting your children's first words, steps, first day of kindergarten? You forget their little baby giggles, or the day you met the love of your life, your wedding day, family vacations. Because this is how deceitful and sneaky this disease is. It takes away your very essence, and it leaves you a shell of the person you used to be. This is what awaits you if you choose to go on this path laid out for you by the pharmaceutical industry. Because even with all the so-called treatments available today, there's nothing to actually guarantee your numbers will drop. Now, I know you don't want any of this to happen to you, but this is how serious hypertension is. You can end up in a dangerous, life-threatening situation even by taking medications, because many times they do nothing to fix the issue at the core. So do you really want to risk it all? Fortunately, you can choose a different route. You can build your own future today, because today you have a choice. Transform your life and let high blood pressure become only a bad memory while you embark on this new journey and start your healing process. And because we want you to know how much we trust Sanguinem Pressura, if by any reason you're dissatisfied with our product, just give us a call and we'll give you a full refund. We don't play games when it comes to the quality of our formula, and you'll look back one day and thank yourself for this leap of faith. So hurry up and secure your preferred bundle from the link below before it's sold out. You'll only benefit from these crazy low prices today, and the number of pieces available drops by the second. Give yourself this well-deserved gift today. Sit back and allow our formula to do the work while you feel better each day.